All right, let's get started. So, for today's lecture, we are going to use Git and GitHub. So, I'm going to introduce you to the course GitHub repo. So, that in the future, if I update anything, you can directly pull the things to your computer without having to go online to download. And I'm also going to cover Lab 1. Okay, so we will having labs starting this week, but still by the end of next Thursday. So all the lab assignment, you will have 1 week to do that. And for that one, only has one question. So basically asking to install a package called LeafMap. Uh, we're going to use it only in lab one. After that we use Gmap, but I'm just want to introduce you additional packages. So basically you need to go through the website to see how to install it, and then just copy the sum code and then run the code and then create the map and then upload the map. That's it. So it should take you less than 5 minutes. Okay, depends on internet speed because you install the packages, but should be very straightforward because we haven't covered any other stuff yet. So for this week, basically you need to be familiar with miniconda, the conda command, mamba, pip, right? And then we also talk about how to use Visual Studio Code. You want to use throughout the semester, but make sure that you set up the environment. I also recorded a video fixing the issue. So have you all fixed that? Now can you use that? Okay, cool. And today's the last part is to use Git and GitHub. Okay. And have you all created a GitHub account? Do you all have a GitHub account? Not yet. So you can just go to github.com and just sign up for an account. I would recommend using your personal email. Don't use you can probably use a UTK because you're going to keep it, right? But you can sign up using your email, whatever email you like. And then from there, you can start bookmark the project, whatever you like. But GitHub is very resourceful. There are tons of information out there. So if you're really good into like programming, you can spend the whole day on there and you can discover tons of stuff. So today we're going to cover you how to get some of the course material. And so first, I'm going to show you how to get access to the course website here. Then if you scroll down, there's a link here, book website. It's not really the book, it's just like the course repo, but I built it as a website so that it looks like a book. So if you click this one, it should take you to the website. So this is what we have right now. There are not a whole lot of information in here. You can click. So we're going to add more and more. So we will add, for example, right now is the lab assignment, but we're also going to add, for example, lectures and notebooks. So basically, you can always come back to this one to download the course materials. All the Jupyter notebook will be through here. So let's click, for example, on the left side, lab 1. And you will see here, lab 1, there's only one question. So I'm asking you to install LeafMap. So LeafMap is another package that I created that you can use to create interactive map, and it's not using Google's engine, but it's very easy to use. It's free. You can use for whatever purposes. You can use also for commercial, and it runs on anywhere that you can run Jupyter Notebook. So on the left side here, if you click installation, you should be able to find the instructions. So you can install just like what we did before, like conda install, or just use mamba, okay? Mamba install, blah blah. Or you can use pip, whichever way you like. And once you install it, then you create the notebook. After that, just come here, copy, paste into the notebook, and then run it. Get the map. But I ask you to pay attention here. Change this one to your name, okay? Because I want your name to show on the map, so that I know at least you make some efforts to create a map, right? Not copy from somewhere. So it should be made by whatever your name. And once you have that, create a map, just take a screenshot and then upload to Canvas. So on Canvas here, I created like one. So you should be able to just upload the file, upload the image. That's it. But the point is that you need to practice. You don't have to understand everything right now. Here, it's pretty intuitive. If you want, you should be able to understand it. I also have some comments in here. So, for example, you can change the text. You can also change the image. Okay, you can put your headshot there if you like, whatever you want. like I said, it's not a requirement. You can keep the div map logo here, but you are welcome to replace with whatever image you like. So all you need is just replace this link, but you might need to resize the image because if the image is too big, it's going to cover the entire map. Okay. So also your image need to be, there's a direct link. So if I open, it should be directly to the image, not to a website. Okay. Otherwise it won't work. Basically, you can play with that. You can do whatever you want, but I just want to see that you can create a map. Okay. And then add some text, add some images, add some stuff in there. If you want, I can come back here and let me see if I can create a notebook. But I'm not sure if I have DivMap installed. So here I say maybe lab1.ipynb. Okay. And then from here, just copy paste and then run. If I don't have DivMap, probably it won't work yet. So you need to install DivMap and then you should be able to just copy paste. So the most time it's going to take you is to install the package, download the stuff. And then after that, it should be pretty quick. Yeah, you see here, now I don't have this package installed yet. So that's the point, just figure out how to install. After today, after this week, you should be able to install any packages you like. So whether it's from on the PyPI repository or it's on Conda, we haven't talked about GitHub yet, but later I will show you how you can install a package from GitHub directly if the package is not available on PyPI or on Conda. So you can also do that. Are we clear? So probably you can finish it before you leave this classroom today. And so that's the only thing we're gonna do. And then next week we're gonna start covering some Python basics, and then we get into Google Engine. So we only have maybe one lectures to cover the basics to get you started, and it should be pretty straightforward. You can learn all the Python stuff throughout the semester. And next Monday we don't have class, right? If you want to come, you can come too. Okay. But we will not have lectures. If you have any questions about this or anything, you can just send to the group or send to my email. All good. With that, then we can start covering Git and GitHub. So how many of you have used Git? 1, 2, 3, okay, roughly half. So for those of you who already use Git and GitHub, so what's the differences between Git and GitHub? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. To all different documents and files. GitHub is like a giant repository where all different kinds of Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, pretty close. So basically, Git is kind of a you can say it's a language, it's a protocol, it's something that you can utilize to do version control. GitHub is more like playground or platform where you can host stuff. You can also think it as Git as English. Okay, GitHub is Microsoft Word document, Google Docs. Basically, it's something you can use to write. If you, like I said, in this course, make sure you utilize ChatGPT or whatever you like. So if you don't understand anything, this is whatever we're going to talk about here is nothing new. It's like I'm just teaching you some of the shortcuts. But anytime if you're not sure about that, just sign to ChatGPT, and then I'm going to say, give me an analogy to Git vs GitHub, and see what you understand. What Git like a toolbox. GitHub on the other hand like a workshop. Okay, a platform built on top of Git that provide collaboration and centralized environment. Okay, so Git is like a language, a kind of tool set. You can also see it as when you try to build a house, for example. Okay, you need to have all kind of tools. Okay, construction vehicle, other stuff, and there's a whole procedure you need to follow in order to be able to build a house, right? In GitHub, it's more like people working together. All the construction workers follow the procedures and build the house together. Right? And if something goes wrong, they can demolish the small section, and then they can rebuild stuff. Make sense? So Git is like a tool set, all kind of tools. GitHub is more like platform you can use, and it's not the only one. So you have GitHub, and there's what else? GitLab is another one. So GitHub, previously it was a standalone company, but it was acquired by Microsoft, I think, maybe 2 years ago. I think at least more than a year now. And then it's right now is the most popular source code repository that people put stuff on there. And there are times you can find all kind of popular projects on there. So all my open source project is also on GitHub. There are also people use GitLab, but mostly GitLab it's free and open source. So if you want to use it for free for commercial uses, some people use GitLab, because GitHub you need to buy the enterprise version and it costs money. So, and Git essentially is a toolset protocol. You can have command line, you can do all kind of cool stuff. So in this course, you only need to remember a couple of those. And I already put in here, if you go to my the course website and then resources, software, scroll down here. These are only the couple commands. So what you really need to understand, unless you really want to contribute to open source projects, otherwise most of the time you're just using Git pull. That's it. So Git pull means you are pulling things to your computer. So rather than having to go online to download. So the nice thing about this is you don't have to go online to re-download everything. So all you need just type a command, you get all the latest stuff. So, and I'm going to show you how to do that. If you go to the website again, go to our course website here. Upper right corner there are a couple icons. So the second one is actually, if you click the repository, it's going to take you to GitHub. So this is where I host all this source code. So the website is being built automatically based on this source code. So if you really want to learn into that, it's under the GitHub workflows. So you can think about GitHub is like a virtual environment. You can download a lot of source code. You can ask the GitHub to do things for you automatically. So those here is called workflow. We're not covered, but just let you know, the website is built automatically. So if you go to the GitHub Actions, just to show you, for example, Git pages, build, deployments. And so anytime if I update a notebook, update a markdown, and then I push changes to GitHub, it automatically rebuild the website. So I don't have to find somewhere to host my website. Everything is actually in here. So this is where upper right corner here, right? If you click, open the website, the website is actually hosted. So you can use GitHub to host all kind of stuff. You can host website, you can host source code, you can host anything. If you can check out my website. My website is hosted on GitHub and it's free. You don't need to pay anything. But of course, you need to pay the domain name if you want to have a specific domain. But GitHub Actions also help you host all the source code. So again, let me come back to here. And these are all the source code. So if you go into the book and then the labs, right? You should be able to find lab 1, for example, empty, right? So this is actually the markdown files. I will use all basically markdown to create the lab assignment and also a notebook, but markdown is pretty simple, and in markup language that allows you to like have all kind of formatting within the text. I will cover more in the future, but for now, if just forget about that. So what you see actually is here. So it's turning the markdown into a website, going to the website, and here you can see all the syntax. You can see hyperlinks. You can see images. You can see source code. It's pretty nice. So yeah, this is where I used to write books. And then it's using so-called Jupyter book. It's all open source. I can show you, for example, if you go to LeafMap, and then LeafMap, I also writing a book right now. So you see, if you look at this one, right, it's also a book. So if you click, you see the table content, you can see the heading, you can see the image, you can see the source code. You can also insert figures, tables, all kind of information. And again, it's free. You don't need to pay anything. So this is something, if you want to learn, you can do that. But for now, just let you know, I'm just going to tell you all this course material are hosted on this GitHub. So next, let's talk about how you get the stuff, right? So it's on GitHub, and what we need to do is to use Git. But for those of you who are very lazy or you don't want to use Git, okay, you can come to the green button here, code, and then download as a zip file. Right? Then just save this one to a computer. This way is fine as well. I mean, if you're only looking at the repo, you only use it once, it's probably okay to just right click and then download, and then you will see the zip file in here. After that, you can just unzip the file. You should be able to see all the contents, pretty much all the stuff, except some hidden files. .git, those files will not be downloaded because it contains the history. And for people that download as a zip file, probably you don't need that. So you will see all the contents are in here. If I open and then get into the labs, right, you will see the markdown file here. And you can, if you want, you can open using a Visual Studio Code and open. Right, so see here, this is all the plain text, right? This is how the website build this plain text file into the website. And so the source code, the text, right, heading, text, source code, and then also the inserted images. Okay, so it's pretty simple. So this is the first way that you can download a repository. So the second way is using this one, using Git. And like I said, it's all available on the repository. If you want to get something, it's better to use Git. So here, just copy this URL. So go to any website on GitHub, any repository, go to the green button, and then just copy this URL. So keep it in mind, this is kind of similar to the URL in here. If you go to the address bar, right, github.com, and then my username, GOG-14, and the URL, basically the GitHub URL is .git. Okay, so I adding the extension to that, and then copy. Next, let me show you how you can download this one to computer. So find anywhere you like on your computer that you want to save this one, and then most likely you can right click. I'm not sure if there's a terminal here allow you to open. Oh yeah, open in terminal. Do you have this one? If you right click, if not, you can just open Anaconda prompt or any way you like. So, but you need to navigate to the directory where you want to do it, because by default, it's going to open under your user directory. So you need to use, for example, cd and then change directory to the download folder. It's fine as well, but usually I find it's easier. Just right click and then open the terminal. Then from here, just one command is git clone, and then paste the URL. So again, let me show you one more time what you need to get this URL. So copy, and then come back to the terminal. Just type git space clone space Control V. So if you forget, I also put in here git clone http URL to the repo. Okay, git clone. You can forget about the first three unless you really want to use Git, you want to contribute. If you're only downloading stuff, you only need two commands. Clone is to the first time you're copying the stuff, and git pull is to get the updates. That's it. So you don't have to worry about other for the commit. Basically, you are getting changes. We don't need to cover it right now. So these are only two commands that you need. So for example here, git clone, Control V, hit enter, and it's going to tell me, okay, cloning into the directory. And you see, it's done. It's going to tell you how many files, blah blah blah, in here. Now, if I come back to my C downloads directory, do you see it? You have all the files in here. So rather than download it as a zip file, you are downloading this one. And the difference between the zip file and this one is this one contains the git history. Although right now it's hidden, but if you go to three dots, no, view, I think it's and then show, where's the hidden file? Hidden items. Okay, so hidden items. Now you want to see this one, .git. Okay, this one is basically contains all the history of your Git operations. For most of the time, you don't have to worry about that. You don't need to edit it, but just letting you know, this is one of the extensions to treat this one as a Git repository. Other than that, it's just a regular directory. The computer has no idea that it's Git, but with this one, this is where you can Git pull. Okay, So right now, with this, I can right click and let me open this in Visual Studio Code. Okay. And this is pretty much what you need to do for all the lab assignments. Is that you just want to download the Markdown or the Jupyter notebook I'm going to provide. And starting from next week, I'm also going to provide you Jupyter notebooks. So basically, you can download the notebook and then you can run this one within your Visual Studio Code. Okay. So it's open now. And here, unclick the search. Right. So you see all the contents in here. And if I go to books, labs, right, lab 1 in here. What is this? Confirmation. Let me close this one. Cancel. Right. So now can you see the file in here? Can you open it? Right. So this is where all the content. And so Markdown, you can also preview the file. So it's Control K and V. You working here? Or still waiting activating extension? Anyway, so this is where you can actually download the file. So next I can quickly show you if you want to get the update, for example, if I add lab 2, if I add anything, then you don't need to go online to download again. So let me go to this website here. I can quickly maybe make some simple changes. Let me see here. How about I just maybe make some changes to the Markdown. Okay, I'm going to click this one. Okay, and so GitHub allows you actually to edit the file directly using a web interface, but most of the time just edit on my computer, so I don't have to use the web interface because there are no autocomplete and other stuff. So here I can show you. Okay, I can maybe, for example, recommended textbooks. Okay, I can add another link here, hit enter, then I'm going to go back to the course website here, and I'm going to go to the maybe the syllabus. I'm just going to copy another maybe text put into there. So here, for example, this one. Okay, I'm going to copy this link, and I'm going to update this one so that you can see how to get the latest one. Okay, so this one is the URL. It done. Okay, then I can say commit changes. So commit in Git, it basically you stage the changes and then just push it into the history. So basically you otherwise you cannot keep track of everything. If you commit into the history, you can revert back to a specific point. Okay, so in that way your information is not lost. Okay, so I'm going to commit changes, and it's going to take some time for the website to be uploaded, but at least right now, if you see here, right, you see the new link in here. And so Git, if you go to the page in here, and this one right now is being built, so it's basically right now it's building the website. We'll be able to refresh later, but for now it's not there yet. Oh, this is not going to show up on the website. Yeah, but you can click 7 commits, right? The commits. Then from here, if you click those items, it's going to show you exactly what changes have I made. So you're going to have 2 panels. The first panel on the left is the original one. The panel on the right shows you the updated text. And you might also see the light green color here. It's not very obvious here. So the light green color means new text. If I delete anything, it will be red color. So this is basically if you want to see what kind of things that changes to a repo, because if a GitHub repo is open source, that means you can see all the changes that people make into the repo. So you can keep track. If something goes wrong, you can go back. Okay, so this is why open source is very powerful, because everyone can spend some time inspect the source code. You can contribute. If you find some typo, you can fix it. And I mean, hundreds of people or even thousands of people can work on the same project. Right? So you can click, for example, any of those in here and see what changes are made. For example, update the syllabus link, something like that. Right? So if I add something, you will know. And so once this one is updated, so right now, this repo is updated, but on my local computer, right? If I come here and if I open my README file here, do you see the new content? Do you see the new link that I just added? No. So by default, your local copy, you need to pull the changes. So you can do is on the left side here, click this icon, this one. So this Git icon. So the second icon, and take a look at this one. Right, there's a button here. Sync changes. Okay, sync changes basically means synchronize. So if there's any update on the remote, the repo, it's going to update the changes. And for most of the time, you can just open this one and then just sync the changes. But if you want to see the under the hood what command you execute, you can write the command. You can write things into a terminal. So again, I'm going to click this one here, lower left corner, just to open the terminal, and then come here to the terminal. Okay, and then from here, you just type git pull. It's the same as you click this one. Okay, so take a look at what happens. Okay, I'm just going to type git space pull and hit enter. See that? And they're gonna tell you fast forward readme.md 1+ means like one line was changed, edit one line, only one file was changed, one insertion. Right, so take a look, it's here. And you don't need to you don't need to download manually. So anytime you will make any update, you can do it this way. And after I done that, after did that, you see that button is gone. Sync changes, because right now they are up to date, they are synchronized. So you don't have to, there's nothing else to do in here. So I can also make changes locally. And also if I log into my account, so I'm logged into my account, I can also make changes in here. But for this course, you don't have to do that, but I can just show you like in my daily work how to actually make changes. So here I can, for example, I can create this one, I can add another line, for example, and then similarly I can go to the repo here, maybe I can add another one. Okay, for example, Control C, come back to here, Control V, right, and the link. Okay, so there's a hyperlink in here, so I'm also going to copy the link, and then come here, double click, it's called Control L, and then it's going to pop up where you can insert a link. Control V, hit enter, and you go. So this is all marked now. Okay, you don't have to worry about it right now. But then you can just Control S to save the file. Once you press Control S, the white dot on the tab here is gone. Okay, and before you push changes to GitHub, usually I will preview the website before I actually push. If something's wrong, I can fix it. So on Windows, no, not on Windows. On Visual Studio Code, it's Control K and then V. Take a look. Control K and V. Okay, and you see this one? The one I just added. Okay. But if you want to be more specific, I can also maybe italicize the text. Okay, go select the text. Control I. You see, it's going to add underscore at the beginning, underscore at the end. I can do the same thing. Take this one. So we can do formatting basically using Markdown. So Control I again. Okay, and then Control S. Okay, but you need to preview it. Okay, so Control K and then V. Control K and V. So it might be hard to remember, but if you use more, you will get used to it. So now you see the text are italicized, and also I edit the second book in here, right? After that, I can push the changes back to GitHub. So on the left side here, let me close all of this. On the left side, this is all the Git. So before you push changes to GitHub, sometimes it might be good to actually see what changes you've made. You don't want to push a lot of large files into GitHub because it's going to be very slow for people to download. So you want to keep your repo very minimum. And I can just click this one here. Take a look. If I click, it's going to tell you, okay, on the left side here, red color means basically something has changed. On the right here, the green color shows some of the new changes, okay? So in this way, you can have side by side. Basically, you know what changes have you made. Kind of like Microsoft Word document, check changes. But check changes is more like for writing for text. This is more like for source code. So you know exactly what changes have you made. if something goes wrong, you can revert it. Okay. And once you finish the changes, I can show you what usually what I do, right? So assume that you are satisfied with whatever you have in here, then you just need to write the message. So this is so-called the commit message. Commit message is what's going to show up on the website. So I'm going to show you, come back to the GitHub repository here, and this is the message. Earlier I used this one when I used the web interface. If you click save and commit, and this is the message that you are going to show up. So you want to choose something descriptive. You don't want to write a whole paragraph. I think it only allows certain number of characters. I don't remember the limit, but so here, what you need to do is whenever you are taking a snapshot and then you are giving a label to the snapshot so that you can always go back to a specific one. In this case, I added a new textbook. I can just write add new textbook, something like that. That's it. And so this is the message. Then you can just click commit, or usually what I do is just control enter. Control enter. So pay attention to this one here. Right now it shows you the changes. Once I commit the changes, it will not show up because you already put it into the history. So control enter. You see? It's gone. And then you can just sync changes. You're gonna take where to authenticate. Okay, so maybe I need to re-authenticate the Git repo. And this is where it's actually this one. So I can show you here, but you don't have to follow it. I'm just showing you if you want to build a repo and then submit changes. So you need to basically figure out what's your name and also the email that you use for your GitHub. So let me quickly see if we can fix it here right now. Okay, I'm gonna open this one and then I can just open a terminal. I can see sometimes you will need to authenticate git config. I think the last time I removed it. Okay, my name is there. Interesting. So user.email. Yeah, it's already there. So probably I just need to sync this one. I need to turn on cloud changes. Yeah, I probably need to log into GitHub. It's not working. Let me try the command line. See what happens here. Git push. Okay, then I need to log in. Continue. Did it. Back here. Okay, now it's fine. So it's gonna show you the remote, and then to this one, master to master. So now if I come back to here, come back to the repo, refresh. So hopefully it's there. See it? Add new book, and if you click on the repo, you should see what changes did I made, right? So red color means remove. So basically, I remove the space and then add this new text. So it's going to take you maybe. But now this right now this markdown file is just affecting the text in here. So if I want to also add it to the book website, then I need to edit. Basically, you need to edit the preface. I think not the preface. Is it the index doc markdown? Yeah, I need to edit this one. So the index.md, this one is not updated. So if I want to show up on the website, because the website use the index.md as the home page, so it's not showing up in here. So I can quickly now show you if I want to update it. So here, I'm back to here, and then readme.md. Then what I can do is simply copy all this. And then this kind of a little bit duplicate, but so GitHub we use the readme.md to display things on the page. just like in here. So when you go to a repo, if the repo has a readme.md, it will display the content in here. So there's kind of the file name convention. But for the website, I use the index.md, so just the homepage. And we come back to here, right? This is right now only has one. I can just Control V, and then Control S, Control K and V, just to review. That's it. And now I make some changes again, and I click here. You can see the changes. Once you are done, I can say, okay, update index.md, Control Enter. Okay, so now I should be able to sync changes because I earlier already authenticate. So now it should no errors. Okay, it's done. And come back to here, refresh. You see, update index.md, and it's building. So what you want is to see the green check mark. Once the green check mark, that means the website has been deployed. If you go to see the website right now and you refresh, it's not there yet because it's still building. So think about this, right? Now I don't need to manage the website. I just focus changes on just the plain text markdown. I don't need to know HTML. I don't need to know web design. It automatically build the website for you. So here, and then once it's done, you should be able to see the website. Or you can also click actions. So from the actions, it's going to basically wait for the build because it's, think about it's like a virtual computer, and it help you install all the packages and then build the website based on whatever packages you provided. So all the instructions actually within here, workflows, and then deploy. So GitHub is actually running through all the steps that you specify in this workflow, and then build the website and then deploy it to GitHub pages. Okay, now it's finished building and then it's deploying the website. So it should be usually 10-20 seconds, it should be done. And this is all we need to do, right? So after you make all the changes, so I can go back to, you can go back to your the repo, just git pull. You will be able to see all the changes that I added to the website. So in that way, you don't have to keep downloading that manually. So it's pretty nice too. And not just for this website, you can clone anything from the GitHub repository. So there are tons of resources out there. Okay, so you see, it's done. Come back to the website, refresh. See? And this is how you, I do things daily, is to make changes, push, and then let GitHub Actions take care of the rest. So I don't have to do that. So in the future, here, right now it's lab 1. I'm going to add lab 2, lab 3. And there's also will be a lecture section. So we're going to post a notebook. So make sure that you try this out. You don't have to push changes to GitHub. All you need is just git clone one time only, and then git pull. That's it. But you need to keep in mind, if you make changes to your repo and then trying to use git pull, it might not be able to, because it doesn't know whether you want to overwrite the file or you want to do something. So I can quickly show you. If I, for example, I make some changes to this one, I messed up, I whatever, right? You delete something, and you just Control S. Then on the left side, you see the file has changed. I delete something. So now if I use git pull, I think I need to maybe edit some of the file. Or I can delete the file because I'm working on this one. But if you if there's some conflict and then trying to pull, it's trying to overwrite the file on your computer. So sometimes it doesn't do that. It's going to tell you, oh, there's some conflict. You need to commit the changes before you get to pull the changes. Just like you're working on Microsoft Word document and you're working with multiple people and they all have check changes, right? And then when they send back the file to you, you don't just overwrite yourself the file, right? Because you need to actually consolidate the changes. So see, sometimes people might be editing the same line of text. Some people add new stuff, some people add delete stuff. How to actually figure out. So GitHub, we have some tools that can help you to solve the issues, but there's no automatic way. If it's very complicated, you need to decide, I want to keep this one, I want to keep that one, I want to delete this one, something like that. So this is going to happen. I'm sure if you clone my repo and then make some changes, later you want to pull, it's going to show you the error. It cannot do that. So what you can do is to either click this one here, discard the changes. So this one basically you discard all the changes you make on your computer, and then you can pull the latest update, right? So right now only editing one file. I can also maybe, for example, I can delete this file. I hate this robot.txt. You can mess around, you can mess with it, but if you can rest assured it's safe. I can always revert back to a previous history if you want to. So anything, if I commit changes, it's going to put into the history. So all the files, it's not creating the copies. It's just keeping track of the changes that you make to the repo. So now you see here, I have 2 files that I have changed, but later on, if you decide to put the changes again, then you can most likely you can just discard all changes. So if I remove this one, and it'll be gone. So basically now your repo is clean, and I can use git pull again. Most likely it should work. Okay. And here's my suggestion. You want to clone the repo and then put it somewhere, and then just use the file. Don't try to make changes in there because you're going to cause complication. And then create another folder on your computer and copy the lab assignment, the lecture, something else. So you don't need, for example, once you clone this repo, you create something else on your computer, and then maybe just copy the lab folder to your new directory. So in that way, it's separate. So you can make changes to whatever you have on your computer. And then if you really want, you can explore GitHub. You can see how you can create a new repo, how you can ask questions. So for example here, right, you can report an issue if you find anything. So I can just come here, right, and you can ask any questions. So this is how you collaborate with other people on all the open source community. So you don't need to know the people, in person. You can ask any question. So for example, here you can say, okay, you can, but try to be specific, okay? Don't try to have something very vague. Just like you were sending an email to someone, you just like question, maybe question one, is, or you can just maybe say fixed typo or whatever you like, and you can say okay, blah blah. But you need to not fixed typo. You can say fixed typo is like you having a pull request. Right now we're trying to ask a question, so you can say lab one issue whatever, okay, and then you can write okay, I don't understand what lab one is, okay, and you help me, okay. This is not good. Okay, I'm just writing something here, showing how to submit a quiz, submit the issue. So issue basically means there's something wrong with the source code. There's some issue, and then I will. This is where then I resolve the issue. Okay. Can you help me? Of course not. Please do your reading. Okay. And then I just close the comma. So it means a issue solved. Alright, so this is how you actually ask questions on GitHub. There's also pull request. Pull request means you can contribute, but try if you really ask something, do your homework. I can also activate the discussion. So I can go to settings, and there's a discussion board. So I can activate it, and then I can set up discussions. Then you're gonna show a discussion tab at the top here, right? Now discussion is enabled, and then you can, so if there's discussion enabled in the repo, if you think that it's a question rather than a bug or feature request, then you ask here. But if you think it's a bug in the source code, or if you think you want to ask somebody to them to develop a new feature, then it belongs to issue. Okay, so here you can really ask questions. You can say, okay, now I have question. You can select, for example, Q&A, idea, general announcement, something like that. So I'm going to ask, for example, Q&A. Okay, maybe what's that? Maybe about lab one. Okay, be more descriptive. Okay, this is not good title. It's a bad example. And okay, so I will say, okay, the map in lab one looks cool. Okay, I want to use my own data. Can you show me how to do that? Okay, and then start discussion. So anyone that has GitHub account, they log into, they can help answer the questions. And this is the starting point. So if you really want to contribute to open source, start helping people, like addressing some of the questions, or you can report back, or you can submit feature requests. And this is how you can actually have some presence on GitHub. Okay, so I can come here. Okay, looks nice. Okay, I can say what data do you have? Okay, share the data. Okay, and then maybe comment, right? I'm just helping myself, but you can just go online to ask anything. And after that, I can close the discussion. So if the issue is fixed, I can close it. Or I can mark as a question. Okay, I can say, how about this? About this example, okay? And then, so on GitHub, you can actually paste the source code. So usually it will be 3 tilde and then Python, okay? And then import lib map, for example, okay? Map equal to lib map dot map, and then map, and then 3 dots. So when I say click preview, you see this is the source code. So if you're trying to ask questions on GitHub, try to ask a good question and provide sample codes that people can reproduce the error. So if people cannot reproduce, you just say, can you help me? Yeah, you need to share more information. Otherwise, I cannot really help. So you provide the coding example and other stuff. So this can be very useful. You can also provide images, provide figures. So for example, here, I can share maybe a figure or something. So image. So I can maybe copy this image and think about here. I come back to this one. So I can actually control V. You can update the images into GitHub. Okay. So this is how to ask good questions, provide things that people can reproduce, especially if it is a bug. Also provide what's the operating system, what's the package version, something like that. So just follow the guideline, whatever available on there, and then just say comment. That's it. Okay. So next time, if you want, you can go online to ask questions like that. Pretty simple and straightforward. If you want, you can maybe, I can show you an example. Yeah, we're running out of time. So if you go to maybe GitHub, Gmap, right? And go to the GitHub repository. So similarly here, there are issues, right? Issue basically, if there's a bug, if there's a feature request, if something related to the source code base, then you can feature request. Issues. Feature request means you are contributing to the source code. For example, I'm trying to improve Gmap, and so now you're going to require Google Maps API key, because if you don't use that, it violates the terms of service. So now we have to add that, and you can see what kind of source code did I change, right? So all the files, what kind of lines I remove, what kind of lines I new I added, right? And then you can go through that. So this is where you can learn, for example, how other people are doing open source stuff, right? So this is the so-called pull request. Again, it's probably too much for you guys right now, but I'm just showing you how you do that. So, and then this is where probably you want to use is the discussion and see how people ask questions, right? And how, if you see the green check mark, that means it's solved. If you find a package that's interesting, you want to use it, you have some questions, try to search the existing, see if it is already answered or already asked. And so, for example, here, right, you can ask question and then reply, also provide example, something like that, and then your question is resolved. So this is how you can utilize GitHub to ask questions. So if you are capable, you can go online to ask, help people answer the questions. Okay, so this is kind of brief introduction into Git and GitHub. And again, only 2 commands you need to remember: git clone, git pull. That's it. If you really want to contribute, then you need to learn a little bit more, but there are tons of resources online. And after that, lab 1, okay, install, create a map, upload the image. Take the screenshot, okay? Take a screenshot of your map and then just upload to Canvas. If you have any questions, send to the group or email me, okay? See you next Wednesday. So we don't have class on next Monday.